biggest screw-ups, ranked. Despite what you've maybe read, Apple, true story, ain't perfect. Far from it. Even its fanciest and most expensive phone of all time, the iPhone X, is already getting a decent share of flack from its first buyers, especially those in inclement weather. See also, Apple.com has been taken over by the iPhone X, so goes the kinks Apple fans have had to deal with, including non-optimized apps, the really pretentious name, and that pesky camera notch. But nothing we've seen from the iPhone X so far can compare to the major screw-ups we've seen from Apple in the past. From the infamous Yellowgate to the recent iOS 11 keyboard glitch, there have been some relatively impressive fails Apple would probably prefer everyone just forgot about. Unfortunately for them, we're not going to let you do that. These are the 10 most embarrassing Apple fails of all time, in order from least to most worthy of a facetum. Problem: screens were yellow. Solution: not much of one. The iPhone 4's was groundbreaking in many ways, but apparently its display had a slew of problems. In the middle of October 2011, a Reddit user reported a yellow tint on his iPhone 4's screen. This was more than an issue of screen coloration, though some users claimed that the colors were washed out and difficult to distinguish at certain viewing angles. We don't know all that much about this one incident, and reports weren't all that widespread. In fact, to our knowledge, Apple never did much about Yellowgate. People eventually got used to it and stopped talking about it. If only all of life's problems were so easily solved. Problem: the app sucked. It didn't work. It erased people's music. And people didn't use it. Solution: a bunch of updates that people didn't use. Seriously, does anyone use Apple Music? If you do, you're pretty loyal. About 3 months after the music streaming platform's release, a report showed that 48% of users who had initially signed up were no longer using it. In other words, Apple Music's rollout had serious problems. Apple's pre-rollout ads for the service were incredibly vague, and nobody really knew what it was, or, more importantly, how it was different from iTunes. Marketing aside, early versions of the app just didn't hold up. Nobody used Connect, which was supposed to be its social component. Users consistently experienced glitches in playlists and downloads. Oh, and someone's entire music collection disappeared from their hard drive. So there's also that. Problem: when rolling out the iPhone X, its big feature, Face ID, didn't work on stage. Solution: a backup iPhone X. This was cringe-worthy. At Apple's keynote in September, the company's senior vice president of software engineering Craig Federighi attempted to demonstrate the iPhone X Face ID to the crowd, and he failed spectacularly. Unlocking it is as easy as looking at it and swiping up, Federighi said of the iPhone X. When he glanced at the phone, it promptly failed to recognize his face and asked for a passcode. Federighi quickly picked up a backup phone, which worked just fine. And in fairness, it turns out Face ID was doing exactly what it was supposed to do. Many people who weren't Federighi had been handling the device before the event, so the phone had tried and failed to unlock many times. This disabled Face ID and meant Federighi was required to enter a passcode. Still, this incident certainly could have been avoided, and because it wasn't, we all spent a month being way more worried about Face ID than we needed to be. Problem: the letter I isn't working. Solution: an iOS update or a cumbersome settings hack. This one's still at large. Some iPhones have up and stopped typing the letter I. Fixed it. Pic.twitter.com R3 Jetchug, Jeremy Burge, at Jeremy Burge, November 6, 2017. Following the most recent iOS 11 upgrade, some iPhones have decided to autocorrect the letter I to an A and a strange question mark in a box, so if you've gotten any texts recently that look like they're from aliens, you're not alone. Image: Monica Chin. Apple. This problem has been fixed in the latest iOS update. If you don't feel like updating, you can go into Settings, General Keyboard Text Replacement and tap the plus sign. Type I in phrase and I in shortcut. Problem: touching the iPhone 4 disrupted its signal. Because they put the antennae where you hold the phone. Solution: the company spent $175 million to provide users with plastic bumpers for the phone. Fun. The antenna, the instrument that allows your iPhone to make and receive phone calls, is usually inside your phone. For the iPhone 4, Apple decided to wrap the antennae around the phone instead. However, people found that their hands touching the antennae interfered with their phone's signal. Specifically, holding your